Hey, everybody out there in Facebook land, this is Will Hill with County 10. Hopefully you're getting those little notifications on your phone or on your computer right now. A little bit of nice tech invention with the notifications from Facebook. And it says County 10 is live. And I hope that you're going to see a lot more of that. Not I hope, you're definitely going to see a lot more of that in the near future. We've got a lot of stuff in store for you at County 10, and one of the things that we want to do is a lot more video. And so we're going to do today a tech FAQ with Wind River Internet, Adam Lawson from Wind River Internet. The funny thing, I think, Patrick, about doing this tech FAQ and a little story while people jump onto the live feed. We've been sitting here. We intended to go live. What time is it now? I'm looking at a screen.
About 2:40.
2:40. We intended to go live 40 minutes ago with a tech FAQ, and we are 40 minutes late because of tech issues. Not that we didn't have answers to, but simply.
I just want to say the internet was working great the whole time.
The internet was great. We had somebody who needed glasses to see the internet password. We had all the different things. With tech, anything can go wrong, even when you know the answer. And so we wanted to do a tech FAQ with Patrick here and Wind River Internet. They're one of our great community partners at County 10, and they do a lot for the community. And there's a lot that's really special about Wind River Internet, and I'll let Patrick talk about that in a second. But just to give you some context for what we're doing here, we're at the Wind River Internet office, the new office here in Riverton, in the building that used to be the Bull restaurant. It's been actually several restaurants over the years. And we're here to have a little bit of fun and to answer your questions. So today we're going to be talking about cord cutting. I'll let Patrick introduce himself and introduce the topic here in just a second. But if you have any questions, we have a question that's already been submitted. We'll talk about that one. But if you have any questions about tech, about with County 10, we get questions all the time like, how does my email work? Because your County 10 email doesn't show up or something, And so people have questions. Whatever the question is, we'll try and get to as many of them as we can. And we'll go through, especially the topic that we're talking about today, which is cord cutting, how to get off of cable TV and use streaming services, different things like that. So I think we're gonna have some fun. Hopefully there are a few people watching today, and so I'm going to turn it over to Patrick Adam and let him introduce himself, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, thanks, Will. As you had introduced me as Patrick and Adam, a lot of family members and people on the reservation know me as Adam. We're talking about cord cutting, and one of the questions my family said, "What do you mean? What cord are you cutting?" And well, it's just a term that people use when they're no longer subscribing to cable TV services or satellite services or your traditional services where you got 600 channels of stuff, as opposed to streaming services where you can kind of pick and choose a little bit more granularly. Like you can supposedly pick a provider that gives you just a certain type of thing. Like if you don't want sports, you don't necessarily have to get the sports. And a lot of the services are still owned by the same corporation, so it's still you kind of buy packages, but you can start out with services that are as little as $6 a month instead of $100 a month cable bill.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I did years ago, and it's just been getting better and better. There's a lot of services out there, so I was thinking, since we're doing this live, people can ask questions, so don't hesitate in Messenger. We've got Terry on, and she can relay the messages to us.
There's Terry over there in the corner.
So yeah, one of the advantages of going with like a streaming service versus just your traditional cable TV or satellite service is most of the services are on demand. Even the live ones, you can go back and watch anything. Like, so if you tune into a show that you seem to like, you can go back to episode 1 and you can watch all 9 seasons that have 30 episodes each, and you can catch the entire show. You can see the behind the scenes. There's all kinds of things that were just never possible before. You used to have to like schedule your Thursday night at 7 o'clock to watch Friends or whatever the show might be. Now you just, when you want something to do, you just turn on the TV and make sure your internet's on, and start streaming.
Yeah, you and I were talking when we decided that we wanted to do this. I said this is a great topic because my wife and I've been here 14 years now, and my wife has been here 13 years, and in Riverton. And one of the first things that we did was we got our cable, and you get the cable internet and the phone and the package, and you decide what you want, and we sat there for the longest time just staring at the TV, doing the thing that everybody does, click, 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 and then we realized I think we were paying. It was more than $200 a month for all of those services bundled together, and prices are a little different now. That was a long time ago, but we realized that we just didn't need all of that. And so 13 and a half years ago, we cut the cord and have never looked back. And we have a couple of streaming services, and my parents in Indiana have been they've been working towards this. They watch a little CBS, they watch some sports, and I keep telling them, you could be paying so much less, and you could have all of these extra things, on demand and to stream. And so I really like this topic. I know you've got resources and all kinds of different things to share with people. So.
Oh yeah, I thought I'd kind of categorize things a little bit. Like, the really cool thing about all these streaming services is you can catch all these old shows. Like Disney Plus just came out, so I'm watching all these old cartoons when I was little, and I'm showing them to my kids now, like Rescue Rangers and like these old afternoon cartoon shows. And then there's all the new shows that you can only get on streaming, that you can't even get on cable. Like I don't know, there was Orange is the New Black, and then I don't even know what all the new ones are. The Tiger King.
Right, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I know there's stuff that's also, that normally wouldn't air on traditional TV that you can show on streaming services, like the Tiger King. That was kind of weird.
It was very weird. Yeah.
And then right now with the whole social distancing, and none of the movie studios releasing in theaters, the new movies are skipping the theaters and going straight to streaming. The first one was Trolls World Tour, where you could rent it for $20. Which people are like, well, it's kind of expensive to rent, but it's still cheaper than taking a whole family to the movie theater.
Right.
Apparently did really well. So Scoob was the second one that just came out last Friday, I think. And it's apparently doing pretty good. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's only available on these streaming services. So what are the disadvantages of the streaming services? Well, you have to have good internet, because they won't really work if you don't have good internet.
That's true.
And sometimes if you want to see all the shows that you want, you might have to get a few different streaming services. So like Netflix may not have everything you want. You might have to get Netflix and Hulu, or you might have to get Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus. It's not all like just one service that has all of them. So you might have to pick a couple different ones if you want to see something similar to what you have in your cable package. But even that, I mean, if Netflix is $6 a month and Hulu $6 a month and Disney $6 a month, you're still saving money. It's significantly less. So
it is, and you have so much more flexibility with it as well, and you can take it with you anywhere you go. That's what I think is, one of our employees in the office was telling me that she loves being in the same room to hang out with her husband, but she doesn't want to watch what he wants to watch. So she pops in earbuds and watches what she wants to watch, and they're both streaming on the same service, So it's it can be a really nice way to extend and create flexibility.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool is you can have different profiles. So like you can have one, your kids can have one, or your wife could have one. And when you pick up from one screen to the next, whether you're watching it on your big TV, your phone, new cars let you watch them in the car when it's parked, it'll pick up right where you left off, and you don't have to search through and find the exact episode and which part of the episode you were in. It's pretty cool. So those are kind of like the more the on-demand services. There's the Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and the new one's HBO Max, which is like HBO plus a lot of, I think it's like Comedy Central and a few other different cable networks that are kind of bundled into there. Like the big thing they announced was they're going to do Zack Snyder's Justice League. So the director's cut of that movie, they're going to split it up into like 6 episodes because he made this really long movie and they cut it down to an hour and a half. It was like a 6-hour worth of footage, and he was going to release like a 3.5-hour movie, and they cut it down to an hour and a half and had another director reshoot 75% of it. So there's this huge movie that nobody saw, and so everybody was demanding the Snyder cut, and they're going to do it, and they're going to show it just on this HBO Max, which is $15 a month.
That's fantastic. Yeah, the Snyder cut is a big deal. Gotta get HBO Max now. That's one I don't have.
And I think that just comes out like next week. It's not out yet.
That's nuts.
The HBO Max, the Snyder cut's not gonna be out till next year. Apparently, they're giving him like $20 or $30 million to finish it.
Goodness. Wish I could have $20 or $30 million to finish something. Nice. So you said that there is I think one of the biggest frustrations for me with, and talking to my parents about trying to get them off of the court, is that you never quite know what's out there. I mean, there's Netflix and this, but to have them all in one place that gives you information. I know you were telling me before we started that there are some resources.
So all those things that I kind of talked about were the on-demand services where you watch it after its initial run. So Netflix is usually like 6 months or even a year. You watch the previous season of that show. And then Hulu is a little bit more current. They show the current season. They'll show you what happened like the previous day, and on their lower packages. And they have ads on the lowest package too, so you can pay a little bit more and you get it without ads. That's the other big advantage. No ads. or little ads depending on how much you want to pay. And then they have the live streaming services. And those are more like your traditional cable and satellite. So that's where you get the hundreds of channels that you can flip through. But the cool thing is not only can you flip through them, you can pause them, rewind them, go back and view the on-demand versions of them. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. And those are a bit more expensive. The cheapest one's Sling, which is $30 a month, and it's basically Dish Network, but just over the internet. And then there's AT&T TV, which it used to be DirecTV, and that one's around $55 a month. But that one's probably one of the more full experiences, like what you're used to when watching live TV with the whole mess of channels. Then there's also YouTube TV, also $50 a month, and Hulu plus live TV for $55 a month. And there's this guide on CNET for best live TV streaming for cord cutters, and we'll have a link to it somewhere.
I put it up there.
All right.
Hey, all right.
But it kind of goes over, like, it has a cool little grid, and it shows you, can you do free trials of all of them? Yes. Which cities have which local channels? That's one of the only things that's been holding people back from switching, is a lot of these, you lose your local channels, but lately they've been adding them bit by bit. So certain ones have certain channels, like Hulu Plus has your ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC in most markets. Last time I checked, we only had like 2 of those channels. We didn't have all 4 yet, but that may have changed. I don't currently have it right now.
No, yeah, absolutely. We just wanted to show everybody what we were looking at here. We've got such a small room, and you and I are 6 feet apart, and 6 feet and 6 feet, and we've got like 8 cameras in here, so none of them are showing what was on the TV the entire show that. But
yeah, we were wearing our mask earlier, and I was doing my best Darth Vader impression.
There we go, which I'm sure sounds terrible on the live stream. So, well, this is I didn't even know that this existed. I read CNET a lot and had no idea that there was a resource like that, because that's the biggest frustration with I mean, you know that you don't need 10,000 different channels, and you don't want to be forced into buying the sports package and the other thing, when all you really want is to when I said this on another live feed that we did recently, but when I moved here, I watched nothing but Friends because I had just reruns of Friends because I could see a rerun of Friends on CBS, I could see a rerun of Friends on PBS, I could see it on all these different things, and that's all I had to do because my fiance was in Casper, and so we were watching Friends all the time, you know. But now you can figure, all right, Friends is over here. I like Friends.
It keeps jumping ship. It's going to be on HBO Max only now. It's going to be the only way to see it.
Right. The Office is still on Netflix until next year, I think, and then it goes somewhere else. Parks and Rec. I haven't heard. Parks and Rec is on Netflix right now.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard that one's going anywhere for a while. So, but if The Office goes to something different than HBO Max, and Friends is on HBO Max, and Parks and Rec is on Netflix, I don't want to have 3 different streaming services. Anyway.
So there's some cool tricks that you can do to get free TV. Like a lot of the networks have their own apps. So there's like a Cartoon Network app, there's a CW app, NBC, CBS. There's a few different ones, and you can just watch the last couple episodes of a show for free, which is pretty cool. Which is actually better, I think, than having bunny ears and just watching it live, because you still can watch the most current episodes and you don't have to pay anything. And if you have a streaming box, I mean that's the other thing too. How do you watch these internet shows on a big screen like a TV as opposed to on your phone or on your computer? Fortunately, most TVs are smart TVs these days, and they have them built in. They have an app store, and you can download all these apps. Apple TV has a really great service. It's probably the more expensive one, but it lets you search all the apps. So you can just talk to it and say, "Hey Siri, find Friends," and it'll automatically pull up HBO Max, and you can watch it on there, or you can buy it on the Apple Store, or there are a lot of different ways you can watch it, and it searches through all those apps for you, which is pretty cool. And you can just get all the apps. So that's what we mainly watch personally at home. And then a lot of people like Roku. Roku works really well. It's super easy to use. There's Amazon Fire Stick, which you can get for like $30.
Yeah. And Chromecast is what we have.
Yeah.
We've got our little Chromecast dongle in there, and cast right from our Google Assistant. Tell it to play the kid's favorite thing on YouTube, on Netflix, whatever it is.
Yeah. The Alexa has a similar thing for the Amazon Fires, depending which version you get, where you can just tell it, to play whatever show and just plays it. So the boxes are pretty cool.
We've come a long way. I want to remind everybody to throw some questions in the comments. We do have some questions. Great. Hold on one second. Okay. So I want to review before we get to a question, because then we'll get off at all kinds of directions. So if you're not familiar, if you have traditional cable, traditional TV, and you have the internet package and the cable TV package and all the things, and half of them you don't necessarily need. Just want to review the steps. So if you want to be able to watch regular TV on your same big screen TV, you can use a service like CNET. We put the link in the comments. You can find what you want to watch, search where it's at. You can figure out which service has exactly what you're looking for. You can save a bunch of money and cut that cord. And then you can get something like Roku or a smart TV if you already have one, or if you're looking to upgrade to something bigger. You can get Roku. I think I said that. You can get a Fire Stick. You can get Chromecast. Anything you want to get, even if it's just from here to your TV, or access it directly on your TV. All kinds of ways to do it.
Gaming systems. I forgot all about those. You can use Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation. Just about any console made in the past 10 years has the ability to watch and download all these apps as well.
That's great. So you can find what you like. You can get it to your TV that you're already using, unless you have a TV from 1980 or older. But lots of ways to do it, and you can save a lot of money. You can add flexibility. You can have different users so that different people can watch different things, and it's just, at least for me and for our it's kind of a no-brainer. I love this. Let's check out some of those questions.
Okay, well, the first question came from Lisa Yawaki, and she says, what type of phone do you recommend with your phone services? So I guess that's more of a question for Wind River Internet.
Oh.
I do have a couple questions though about the on-demand, if we can get back to Lisa's in a minute, so you guys can continue
Sure.
with what you're talking about. So Jenny Shoulderblade asks, she wants some streaming box info, and also she asks, what about TV Buddy?
TV Buddy. I've never actually tried TV Buddy myself. I know there are a lot of free internet services like Pluto TV, and there's a couple other ones where they give you hundreds of channels of like really old stuff, a lot of stuff that I think's fallen into public domain.
Hey, that's nice.
I'm not sure how Streaming Buddy works. There's also less questionable ways of watching content. I don't know where Streaming Buddy falls. But a lot of those, they're really difficult to use and they're illegal. But
Let's avoid illegal.
Let's just tell you how you can hack it.
I mean, I don't know if you want to spend pay $250,000 in 5 years in prison, but that's what that warning is at the beginning of all your old VHS tapes and stuff. So just think about that when you're thinking about getting all your shows for free.
There we go. Yeah, that's an interesting one. TV Buddy. In between questions, if you want to Google that, see if you can
Yeah.
find some information for us. That's interesting.
You want to talk about Lisa's question, and I will Google
Sure.
TV Buddy.
Yeah, and as far as the streaming boxes, I guess we kind of covered those a little bit. I personally like the Apple TV because I'm in the Apple ecosystem. If you have an iPhone, you're probably better off with an Apple TV. If you're Android, you're better off with Chromecast.
Mhm.
If you use Amazon for deliveries and stuff, you probably already have Amazon Prime. You get a good deal on an Amazon stick or box. I was looking at getting, I think it's called the Cube, and it's like $10, or I mean $100, but it works like a real Alexa where you don't have to pick up a remote or anything. You just talk to it. And
That's nice.
I think that one would be pretty cool. Most of those ones are all 4K. For Apple TV, I think you have to spend at least $150 to get the 4K version.
Mhm.
And then one thing to note on Apple TV, the Google and Apple don't get along very well. So their YouTube app does not do 4K on the Apple TV 4K.
Oh.
They use a different video codec, and so they stream up to HD, which is still really good. But if you were hoping to watch actual 4K content on the 4K device, you can do it with Hulu, Netflix, all the other services, just not YouTube.
Right.
For now. They'll they'll change it and they'll get it working.
It definitely pays, I will say, to the person that is asking about streaming boxes. It pays to stay within your ecosystem or to go independent for something like that. So if you have Apple, go with Apple TV. If you have Android, go with Chromecast. It just works better. But if you're looking for a third-party solution, then Roku is a really good one.
Yeah,
It comes with a lot of apps.
I think if you're trying to set this up for somebody that's just trying to replace their regular cable system and they don't know much about technology, Roku's kind of the go-to, easy to use. There's only a few buttons on the remote type.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's that I found the Roku stuff is very much that TV experience, because once you get it set up, there's a Roku remote, and so you can sit there and you can push the buttons and you can feel a little bit like you're still watching old school cable, but you can get all kinds of apps and things for it. We had one of the original Wii's, and Netflix did not work on it, even though it was on there. But all of those systems are there, and not most people,
I have
but
the
a lot have
I have
those.
the original disc they used to send you in the mail from Netflix, so you could use Netflix on the Wii, which was weird that it didn't download. It was sent to you on a disc originally.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Speaking of those Netflix discs, I just read an article the other day that that portion of Netflix is still massive.
Yeah.
Even though they're streaming service, people get streaming and then they order a movie anyway.
The
Yeah.
catalog's different. You can get stuff on discs that you can't stream. They still
That's
have a lot
true.
more movies. There's a limited amount they stream, and they take things off every month and they add things.
That's true.
So that's part of the reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. What other questions did we have?
Well, our other question was submitted from somebody off our post today, and they want to know when will Fibre be available in the ETHD area.
We were working hard on it. the virus kind of slowed things down a bit all around, but we're still planning to have it done before the end of summer. Like, hopefully next week, we're gonna have crews out there in the Mill Creek area, so that's gonna be the first area, and then the housing projects in E and then the housing around that. So, also Fort Washakie too, we're gonna be doing Fort Washakie this summer as well.
That's great. And then there was one, I had no idea, you have phone service, I mean, obviously a phone service, but with cellular devices, how does that work?
Okay, so our phone service is, what do they call it, POTS, plain old telephone service. So like your regular landline, we have a replacement for that. So you can just order that with what they call an ATA, which converts it from a digital VoIP service, internet phone, to like a regular phone. And then you can just plug it into your wall and you can use all the old phones in your house. It'll just be like you have your regular old dumb telephone service.
Uh-huh.
The other option is to get a phone from us, which is already an internet phone, and then it has an Ethernet cable and you just plug it into the router, or it can join the Wi-Fi network. And then it's
Cool.
a little bit smarter. It can show like your voicemail and get to it easier, and they tend to work a little bit better, and they're $100. So you can either do the $50 converter and use an old phone, whatever you want, or you can spend $100 and just get the new phone. And they're cordless, and you can get handsets for $50. I'm sorry, I'd have to look up what the handsets are. They might be also $100, but you can add multiple ones. And then we have business phones too, and actually that's what most of them are that we provide, are business phones, where it's, you know, at your desk with all the different extensions and everything. And you can set those up and only pay for like one telephone line or one number, but you can have like 20 extensions, and the extensions are only $10 a month, as opposed to having to pay $25 for a line for everybody.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they're pretty cool. They'll show you like who's on the call and who's not on a call. You can do all kinds of fun routing, like you can forward to cell phones, or you can have the emails go to the voicemails go to your email, and stuff like that.
Nice. So you can get some pretty serious technology for the office, for home, and do it locally.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know this when I first came into town. When I first heard about Wind River Internet, it said Wind River Internet, but somehow I figured that it was, you know, owned by a larger corporation or something like that. But you guys are tribally owned right here in Fremont County, right?
Yeah. We're the product of a need.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of issues in getting services to certain areas, and we ultimately, you know, worked with other telcos, and we started up our own thing, and it's been working pretty good. We provide services to thousands of people, and it's going pretty good, and we just keep getting better, and we're always upgrading to the latest technologies. Like right now, we're running fiber optic everywhere we can throughout Fremont County, and even the wireless stuff we're upgrading so that it'll be as good as it can be.
That's great.
Speaking of which, if you're doing cord cutting, you need to have like high-speed internet at the minimum. So what's considered high-speed internet is anything above dial-up,
Right.
which I don't know if anybody even has anymore, but like
I remember dial-up.
56K. So every K is you need 1,000 of them to make a megabyte. So that's basically what people speak in is megabytes now. And Netflix says if you want to stream video, you have to have at least half a megabyte. In a lot of areas in Fremont County, on the edges, might have DSL, but they only have like maybe 1 or 2 megabytes. So they can stream one stream, and if you got like 2 people, it gets getting kind of dicey and buffering every once in a while, and it's the lowest quality. Now, a lot of the fixed wireless services and some of the better DSL, you can get the 3 meg, which is SD or DVD quality, which is pretty good, but that's still just one person. 5 megabytes, they consider HD, and that's kind of where we start at with our services. And then if you want to do 4K Ultra HD, like the highest streaming quality, Netflix recommends a 25 meg service. Now, anything above 25 megabytes is considered broadband, and that's the new terminology for the fastest type of internet. And yeah, they're trying to get all of America on broadband, and so that's anything 25 megabytes or faster for download. So our wireless product stops right before that. It's 24, and then our fiber optic it goes at 100 megabytes and 1,000 megabytes. So
Wow.
Yeah, that's
It's a lot faster than 56K.
yes, yeah. So all of our services at Wind River Internet can stream video. It's basically just a matter of how many people are going to be watching streams at once.
Right.
And that link that we showed earlier, you have to pay for that too. So if you want to watch different things at the same time on different TVs, you have to pay. Like for 2 or 3 live streams, you got to pay a little bit extra. It depends on which service you have. But that's something you kind of want to research. Otherwise, you'll be watching something, your kid starts watching something, and it pauses your show.
Yeah, like the music streaming services. You go to do something on Spotify and it tells you no, because your kids are listening.
Exactly.
It drives me insane. So.
I do have a question about Sling TV. Andrea asked if Sling TV is live or next day.
It's live.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's live, and they're pretty cool because they let you select the packages. So like you don't have to get like the whole $50 plan. You can do the 30 or I can't remember what all the intermediary ones are, but they've got a lot of options. And they were one of the first to do the live streaming, and they also have a couple locals.
And you said that is that a Dish product?
Yeah, it's Dish Network's streaming service.
Good for them, because Dish is tough. Dish is tough. So, are there any other questions sitting out there?
Not right now, but I have a question.
Hey, all right, go for it. Yeah.
So this is something my husband and I have been struggling with for a while. I don't know why, it's stupid, but so if you don't have cable and you want to watch live NFL football games, I know there's a lot of different places it says you can go to get it like for free, but it seems like none of them usually work out quite right, is our problem that we've had. Do you know of something that's affordable that people could do that with? I say affordable because I know there's
For
expensive
local
ways.
sports, or-
NFL, like football and stuff,
So
yeah.
ESPN, there's the ESPN package on Hulu Live that you can get, but it's like an add-on, so it's like an extra $10 or $12.
Oh, that's all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you have to get the things like the $55 version. So then you're getting back up to
Oh, yeah.
a higher price
Yeah,
range,
yeah.
but you get that advantage of like being able to watch anything at any time. It's pretty cool.
I will say there are still, the reason why cable still is a thing is that if you're one of those people that wants everything at any given time, there's no other, that's what it is, but.
There are some cool bundles. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN can be bundled together and you get a discount. So if you get all 3 of them, it's less. And also almost all of these services, if you pay by the year, it's less. So instead of paying $12 a month, it averages out to be $10 a month because you pay for the annual version. So you also want to check with your cell phone provider. Sometimes they have deals where you get like Netflix for free, or AT&T does AT&T TV for like half price.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, but some cell phone providers somehow give you a discounted version of the service.
Yeah, I don't know what service I signed up for, but I did not sign up for Hulu, and I get Hulu emails, and I unsubscribe, and then I get them again, and something I've signed up for gave me a discount to Hulu, but I have no idea what it was. So that kind of stuff comes all the time, the way they bundle everything.
And I guess one thing that somebody didn't ask, but people have been asking us a lot, is are we gonna at Wind River Internet, are we gonna provide a streaming service? And we've looked into it over the years, and we were kind of just waiting to see how this shakes out, because all these live TV services, because people are asking us when are you going to provide cable, because that's kind of what everybody's mindset is, like you replace cable with cable. We've looked at some different options, and it'll be about $20 a month for the low end package, and it'll have all the locals. And that's the big thing that we haven't seen on all these services. They kind of miss the locals. They might have 1 or 2, but they won't have like all 6 or 7. So if we do that, it'll probably be this fall, depending on demand. So if you guys are interested in a streaming service from Wind River Internet, it would only work on Wind River Internet service. It'd be about $20 a month to start with, but you could add, it'll be like cable TV where you could add HBO and all these other things, or pick different tiers all the way up to like $80 if you wanted like everything, and somewhere in the middle.
Can you reserve channel 10 on there? Coming this fall, County 10 TV. No.
Seriously, we'll have to talk offline about that.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, we have the ability to do our own channels on it. So
Hey, that's cool.
yeah.
That's very cool. Awesome. Are there any other questions out there?
Why, yes, there are. Courtney asks if you have a map online that shows what neighborhoods have the Wind River Internet, like where you've already hit and where you can get it and where you can't.
That's a good idea. We had one on in our office, at our old office, on the wall. It's changing constantly. We add a tower about every other month, and it's really better to check by address than it is to have a map, because the map doesn't really account for trees and other things in the terrain. So,
Is there a way to check your address on your website?
not on the website. Just you call our office, and we have a technician that'll look it up.
Okay.
But it takes about 5 minutes, and they'll have to ask you a couple little questions like, are there any large trees pointing to the north of your house or something like that? Or they can see in the satellite imagery, like, it looks like there's a shed there. How tall is that shed? Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna put your contact information up in the chat, so anybody that's interested in the phone number for Wind River Internet, I will put it in the chat.
But we can get internet to just about anybody in Arapahoe, T, Fort Washakie, outskirts of Riverton and Lander and Kinnear. We're working on Pavilion right now. We got a site that we're gonna be able to get more Pavilion out towards Red Canyon in Lander and Baldo Creek area.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, we got 3 new towers going up next week. We're working on them this week and next week, so that'll help out in the Fort Washakie area a lot.
That's great. What else do we have out there?
Well, Andrea has another question, and she is asking, does Wind River Internet work in town or just out of town?
So, Wind River Internet is the fixed product that we do primarily right now, is mostly out of town. It can technically work in town if you can see one of our towers, but if you live in a neighborhood with a lot of trees, it doesn't work, because it has to be able to see one of the towers. We've got 37 towers around Fremont County, so we do have a lot of them, and we are able to get services in town. But we talked a little bit about bandwidth needs, and that product, because it's wireless, doesn't have as much bandwidth as a wired product. And the last thing I want to do is sell somebody something when they have a better option.
Yep.
And our fiber product is like the best option, and that's where we're trying to get into more population dense areas like Riverton, Lander, Hudson, Shoshone. And that would be the way to go in Riverton. And I actually know where she lives, and we'll be passing by there. So when we get fiber, that'll be the best choice for you.
There we go, Andrea. You are known to us.
He knows where you live, Andrea.
But if you're just fed up with whoever the other provider is, you can get you most likely can get our service in town. It just the downloads won't be as fast. Our uploads will actually be faster, which is just the way our technology works. So if you're a content creator, it might be better to go with our wireless product over another provider in town.
Mm-hmm. Cool. What else is sitting out there?
That looks like that's all the questions I have for right now.
Cool.
I think there's just a lot of people interested in, your availability, really more than anything. So.
We plan, I think, for sure we're going to take this live video and we'll edit it down so you don't have to listen to me tell you about County 10 stuff and all that. We'll edit it down and we'll get it up on County 10 as a post, so it'll be available for people to watch back, and we'll summarize it a little bit. But then in addition, I think if this is valuable for people, we'd love some feedback if what you'd like to hear about, if it was valuable for us to chat a little bit. Certainly the value wasn't in our stunning personalities, but if you want to hear more stuff like this, if you've got tech topics that you want to hear about, we would love to keep doing these if it's valuable. I guess that's something I never really mentioned, is that we also do
primarily we started out as an IT company, and we do do computer services. We sell computers and build servers and do networking. So those types of questions are welcome as well. So
I actually did not know that you did that, and we were in fact, all right, you just gained a customer today, 'cause we're in need of that actually in our office. So, cool. I learned something today, so this was valuable for me, so I guess we're gonna keep doing them.
And I guess last thing is we're hiring. So
Hey, awesome.
if anybody wants to get out in the open air and climb towers and help install internet, we're looking for internet installers both on the fiber optic side, the wireless side. We're looking for like A+ certified technicians for PC Works and people that work in the phone service for our landline phones. So
That's great.
and possibly reception. So we got a lot of people we're looking to hire. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Patrick, you told me that probably the best place to follow you guys is on Facebook. So if we want to you're on the County 10 Facebook page right now, but if you want to throw up that Facebook bug, it's right down there. You can check that out and follow Wind River Internet on Facebook and throw your questions to them. And we'll do more of these. We'll always throw up a post on County 10 the day before and just see if there are any pre-submission questions. Stuff that we might need to research a little bit, and then we'll keep doing these, and we'll keep you guys in the loop on when we're going to do them. And otherwise, send your questions. You can always send a question to hello@county10.com, and let us know you've got a tech question for Wind River Internet, and we'll put it in the queue for the next live stream. So if we don't have any other questions on the hook,
No.
Patrick, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, just thank you everybody for joining. You did and sharing this video if it's after the fact, and let us know if it's valuable or any constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism. We got an email today about unbridled criticism. That was keep it constructive. It can be unbridled too. This is County 10. But yeah, awesome. Thanks everybody. Remember to keep it local, and we'll be back again with more live stream on something new very soon.